Well, good evening, everyone. I bet you thought we weren't coming on, didn't you? You're like, hey, where's the roundtable at? It's Tuesday. 7:30 is past, and where is everybody? But we are here. Have no fear. We are here. Yes, it is Tuesday, January 30th. Almost February on Friday. Or Thursday. What can you do, huh? Time's flying, babe. But it is Tuesday night. This is the roundtable. Of course, I'm Nick Rosario. And as always, the cast of characters that we have assembled for you today is here to entertain and give you all the football we can. So let's go and see how everybody's doing this evening. Delilah, we'll start with you. How are you on this fine Tuesday?
I'm doing great. It's going to be almost 50 in a couple of days, which is like a heat wave in Chicago in February.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, me too. Because I have to go out this weekend. So I'm like, warm weather. Yes, let's do this. Absolutely. Tina. How are you, Tina, on this Tuesday? How are you?
Good. Doing real good.
Very good.
Nothing really changed. Just kind of in the middle.
No, sure.
Tuesday.
I had
So I just want to sit here and do this now.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. No, it's okay. Whatever makes you happy, Tina. And and then of course,
I thought you were singing "If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands." I'm sorry, I got.
Oh, you're gonna start there, right? Well, since you have spoken, Mr. Handy, how are you on this beautiful Tuesday? How's it going?
Man, I've been doing the Usain Bolt since I came in the door, but I'm feeling pretty good. Finally got over the bug. Yeah. And
congratulations on that.
Back at work. I was enjoying being at home, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Because I'm normally up at 4.
Okay.
Wait to hear that alarm go off, and then just go, nah, and then sleep till 10:30. It was great. It was awesome, but I'm not mad. So doing all right, and of course, I'm very happy to be here today with you all.
As always, of course, and of course. On that note, we always like to start the show, and of course, we always like to start with a coin toss. All righty, well, let's get into it then. This week, for our coin toss, we have decided to talk about the head coaching vacancies that are no longer vacancies. We have 5 teams with a new head coach, and we're going to talk about them. And so I'm going to start because we've kind of divvied it up amongst the 4 of us with the coach. So I got Jerrod Mayo, and that is the way you pronounce it. I had to look it up to make sure. Jerrod Mayo is the correct. Jerrod is the correct pronunciation of his name. And you're asking yourself, well, who is Jerrod Mayo? Well, Jerrod Mayo attended the University of Tennessee from 2004 to 2007, where he played linebacker and was drafted 10th overall in 2008 by the New England Patriots. Played 8 seasons, all with the Patriots. 2-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ. He wasn't hired by New England until 2019. I guess he left football for a little bit after his 2015 season. 2019, he was hired as the inside linebackers coach, came back to New England, was just coached on the defense for the last few years. He does become, this is kind of an interesting thing, he is now the youngest head coach. He passes Sean McVay. He is 37 years old, so he is now officially the youngest head coach in the NFL. So good for you, Mr. Jerrod Mayo. The biggest thing, I think, with this particular site, you brought a guy in-house, a guy who's played his whole career and coached here. He knows the culture, and I think that's the thing is he's going to start a new one. I guess we all know Belichick left, and it's up to Jerrod to kind of bring them from the rise like a phoenix, rise from the ashes here, because we all know how bad of a year New England had, and the quarterback play just hasn't been there. Because I mean, he's inheriting a top 15 defense. They went from 11 to 15 though in the last year, and a lot of the reason was because their offense just couldn't do anything. The opposition had a starting field position of the 32-yard line, like an average of the 32-yard line. So the defense was always on their heels. They were always pushed back. In comparison, they always started on like the 24. So their average was 24 something, and they gave up. They were always, the other opposition was always on the 32 starting. So that really did. Defense played a lot, but I mean, like I said, he inherits a great defense that's anchored obviously by Christian Barmore on the line. Anthony Jennings also on that defensive line. Christian Gonzalez was hurt in week 4, so he gets him back for this year. He should be back from injury. Jonathan Jones as another corner, and the safeties, Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar. So he's inheriting a good defense. We all know that New England needs offense. And, of course, we all know New England has the third pick. So you got to imagine they're getting a quarterback. I mean, their biggest needs are probably quarterback, receiver, and offensive line. So with your defense, kind of pretty, again, a top 10 to 15 defense is not bad in the NFL, especially when you're returning a lot of your starters from the year before. So, I mean, the biggest thing, okay, Handy, you find, okay, very good. Given their quarterback, yeah, coffee preference, you're hilarious. This guy, folks, what are we going to do with this guy?
I'll be here all show.
I know you will. Tip the waitress. Try the veal. But I mean, but seriously, yeah. And I think, this is the thing about this. I really think this could be good because I think New England needed to start over. Like with a new coach, with a new, just the whole thing, an overhaul of what was going on before. It just wasn't working. Belichick needed to go. You're bringing a guy again who's been in New England. He knows the fan base. He knows all of that. He's been with the team for, the last 4 years. So I think this is a great hire for New England. And again, you got the 3 pick, and also I didn't realize this. I had to look this up. They're actually third in terms of cap space. They have $68.4 million that they could spend. So not only can they draft well here with the 3rd pick and a couple of others, but they got $68 million to play with in the free agent market. So I really feel like he's in a good position to take over this team, to get them in a position to win more than 3 games this year or this upcoming season. So yeah. I really like the signing of Jerrod Mayo, and I really hope that, again, I don't like to hate on anybody. I know New England was always the evil empire when it was Belichick and Brady, but, it's a new era there in New England, so thank you, Tina. So, again, Jerrod Mayo is your new coach of the New England Patriots, and I wish him the best. Good luck for Jerrod Mayo. So let's move on. We have other coaches. So, Delilah, we will go to you next, and you have Brian Canales. Who, right? Did I say Brian? Brian, right? That's correct? Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure it's name. Dave Canales. See what I mean? In my mind. Dave Canales got hired by Carolina. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about that, Delilah. David, Carolina. Sorry, Dave Canales.
All right. So, let's talk about Dave. I think Tampa fans are probably a little sad to see him go because he was there for a season. Kind of started at the same time as Mayfield, and some people see him as one of the reasons why Mayfield looks so good. Not just because Mayfield did turn out, but also they feel like his leadership was obviously well-founded, and he was able to give schemes that Mayfield play with, right? Like actually play to the quarterback, right? We always talk about that, right? Coaches find, their weaknesses and then try to either find ways around it or how to minimize them and maximize their strengths, right? And so that's when he started. Look, they made playoffs, so I could see one reason why he looked really tempting. He's also 42, so he's a young head coach, and it seems like a lot of owners, a lot of leagues lean more towards the younger guys. I'm thinking it's because we move in a more modern direction when it comes to the NFL play, right? We've always talked about it here. And so sometimes that takes different thinking. Anyone, like outside of Reed, right? He's the outlier.
Yeah.
But in general, most teams are looking at younger coaches with that type of mindset, right? And it's not like they're coming with experience. Like before he came to Tampa, he was learning under Pete Carroll. I think people forget he came from Seattle. And so, so he spent like many seasons, almost a decade. He also knows Pete from California. They were at the same college together when Pete was the coach for the Trojans.
USC, baby.
So they had, so he learned from a really well-rounded coach, in my opinion, right? Like, I don't care what people say about Pete. He did take Seattle to a Super Bowl, and so I think that's pretty impressive. And like, that's basically what David Tepper said, because, he was interviewed. And so this is what David Tepper said. Dave's background is rooted in success. He has an innovative mindset and positive energy that connects well with players and staff. We are impressed with his ability to bring out the best in players. So I guess they really did see that part. Remember, they have a young quarterback in Bryce Young, right, that they drafted last year. And we have all of the Panthers picks because of that. No, not all of them, but
Not all of it. We robbed him. We got him pretty good, right? We got him.
So it makes sense, and they have other young players on the team. So I think that they finally are, the owner probably finally realized, the mistakes that he kind of was making, and is trying to make a difference and change that around and get the right people. Dave Canales is also currently, because Ron, doesn't have a head coaching position at the moment, is the only Hispanic head coach in the NFL currently. One of those tidbits. He's also just the fifth Hispanic head coach hired in NFL history.
Okay.
Me and diversity, so I had to throw that little tidbit in there.
100%.
So, but yeah, I wish him the best. I think it's smart of the Panthers to go in this direction, and hopefully, he can create some positive growth for the Panthers, especially given that they're going to have to make use with lower round picks and maybe do some trades and stuff to kind of build a team around Bryce Young. So,
yeah.
Good hire. I think solid.
Yeah. No, again, like you said, Delilah, they're skewing younger. A lot of guys are getting opportunities. These younger guys are getting opportunities to be head coaches now. And I don't think that's an accident. I think, like you said, the NFL is skewing towards kind of that, this is a newer NFL, right? This is not your old NFL. This is the offensive age of the NFL and all that good stuff. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what he does there. Good luck to him in Carolina. Mr. Handy.
Sorry, yes,
as we all know, your Falcons got their wish. Well, you got your wish, and Arthur Smith was fired, and he was replaced by Mr. Raheem Morris. Why don't you give us a little bit on that, Mr. Handy, and your Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, well, Ray J had one wish, and I guess he got his wish, but he didn't get to keep his wish. His wish has a TV show with all her sisters and her mama and her whatever. Anyway,
wow. Okay.
I got my one wish this year, and that was for Arthur. I hope it was a good one. I hope I didn't waste it. And Arthur Smith got fired. Oh man, Steelers fans, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now, y'all. I'm so sorry that y'all got that man. I hope he does right by y'all, Coach Tomlin. You know what? I think is Tomlin in charge of the coaching hires, or is the general manager in charge of the coaching hires?
Well, he said that Art Rooney will be in on interviews, but he said it is Tomlin's decision to hire coaches. That's what the head coach does, hires his coordinator. So Rooney will be in on the interviews, but it is the decision of Mike Tomlin.
Okay. Well, that right there tells me that Mike Tomlin is ready to retire and get out of Pittsburgh because he hired Arthur Smith as his coordinator. He's like, this might be the year. Yeah, look, no losing seasons. This might be the year, Coach. I'm just telling you. Did you not see? Who else was you interviewing? I mean, nobody. I would have called Jim Mora. He's still doing commercials with Kevin Hart. Playoffs?
I don't know. Nagy's with the Chiefs, and they're in the Super Bowl. It's back to back.
Yeah, but doesn't Andy Reid call plays? Forget Nagy. He sucks.
They gave the
besides, anything's better than Matt Canada, isn't it? Anyways, go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry.
They gave Nagy a job.
No, I know. Yeah,
just to keep him there, so he can have that on his resume, and somebody else will snatch him up as a head coach again. Anyway, I'm off the beaten path. I liked Raheem Morris. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the greatest coach in the world when he had his. You understand what I'm saying? He wasn't the greatest coach in the world when he had his opportunities to coach. The 2009 season at Tampa Bay, he was 3-13, but then he turned around and took him to a 10-6 record. 2011 season, we know that was bad. They went 4-12. And he, at the time when they gave him the interim job in Atlanta was a hot train wreck. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. You had Matt Ryan, you had post Super Bowl Matt Ryan, you had Julio Turf Toe Jones. God bless him, still love him. Doggone good Falcon. He'll be in the Ring of Honor. You had Calvin. I did. With my whole chest on a Tuesday night. Calvin Ridley. You got Calvin Ridley, who's too busy on DraftKings to study the playlist. I'm just saying that. I'm serious.
Well, it was.
I know. I remember.
That's what the Atlanta roster was. I mean, I was just looking at it, man. You had Todd Gurley, who let me see, Todd. Yeah, Gurley, who already had a major knee injury before he even came out of Georgia, and he was in Los Angeles, and I think he had another knee injury. He never panned out to be what he was going to be. They just gave him the job to have a Georgia boy in Mercedes-Benz Stadium to sell some jerseys and sell some tickets. I mean, I'm looking at this roster right now. It was, it literally is the textbook definition of the Cincinnati Bengals slogan, "Who Dey?" That's exactly what it was. So, they basically just said, "Look, man, I got some 6-year-old ground beef and some 2-year-old buns back there. Make these folks some hamburgers so they don't go hungry." They went 4-7. Then too, he didn't have a whole lot of head coaching experience at that time, because there are a lot of guys that were coordinators that became interim coaches that did not do so well, that are now doing well in the league. I think with the experience and who he's worked with, and seeing some of the teams that he's been with, one team comes to mind. They play out in Maryland, not the one in Baltimore, the other one. This the one that's got the stadium in Maryland and the headquarters in Virginia, but they call themselves Washington. Sorry, Sean, I had to say it. But he's learned a lot about what not to do. So I think he's ready for this opportunity. I'm excited. I'm just honestly, to tell you the truth, he could be a wet soup sandwich of a coach too. But right now, I'm excited to not have bad haircut Arthur Smith on the sidelines.
Fair enough. Falcons are going to be youngry next season. Is that a mix of young and hungry? Is that what you got there, Ben? I appreciate that.
That's Ben is Ben is out there in Vegas, and even if he doesn't partake in any illicit substances, you can't walk down the street in Vegas and not catch a contact one way or another. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Even the dudes that stand on the corner and slapping them little placards on their legs, they probably dust them too. Say, "Hey man, you want one of these? Yeah, I'll take one."
Oh man!
Lamar
Odom
blows $52,000 at the Bunny Ranch. All he did was hold a flyer to his face. I don't know. I woke up here. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's all I got.
Oh yeah, Lamar Odom's another subject for another time, way other time.
And that came full circle, because that was Ray J's one wish.
Yeah. I can't. You're hilarious, brother. I can't. Tina. The Titans picked up Brian. I know, like Tina came on. We got to give Tina a minute, just a second to compose herself. She got to love you too, Anthony. There you go. Right. There you go, Ben. Absolutely. That's hilarious. So thank you guys for tuning in. I've seen a few people comment already, so thank you very much. And Tina, we'll move on to you. Brian Callahan gets hired by the Titans. What do you got to say about that?
I heard his name. I was like, why is he familiar? And I know he's Bill's son, so I knew that part of it. But then I started looking in, and I saw a couple of people that he's bringing in for his OC, and I saw the name Eric Studesville, and I went, I know that name. I know that name really well, because he used to be the running backs coach at the Denver Broncos.
There you go.
I was pissed when he left and went somewhere else. So, turns out Callahan has a Broncos connection.
Well, there you go.
But
there it is.
He started out, he played quarterback at UCLA. And then he had a job that he played at a high school. And then in 2010, he was brought in to be, I gotta look and see, I had that note. Where's my note of what? Offensive assistant to Mr. Josh McDumdum Daniels, who then ended up getting fired that year because he blew chunks. And so Studesville became the interim head coach. And then in 2011, John Fox came in. And so from 2011 to 2016.
Sorry. I just read Ben's comment. Sorry, Tina.
I'm trying to just move on.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's putting me off.
Tommy just sold a million brake pads.
I knew he was waiting for somebody. Tommy just sold a million brake pads.
Housekeeping. I'm sorry. That was hilarious.
Sorry. Oh God! All right, we've already only 21 minutes in, and we've already delved into madness. We're good. This is going to be a great show. I'm sorry, Tina. Whenever you're ready, Tina, just resume. Right, we're just
I'm
going
to link back to that because that might be why Callahan made a couple of decisions he made. But anyway,
There you go.
he was with John Fox from 2011 through 2015. He was on
Right.
2 Super Bowl teams as an offensive assistant or the quality coach. Then he moved on. He was the Lions QB in 2016 to 2017. So he worked with Matthew Stafford. In 2018, he went to the Raiders. I'm sure he worked with somebody there, but I honestly don't care. And then in 2019, I knew I'd get a giggle out of that one.
Oh my God!
And then from 2019 to 2023, he was the Bengals OC. And so what he's been, so you see, like in there, like when he was at the Broncos, he worked with Tebow and he worked with Peyton Manning. He then worked with Matthew Stafford. He's also worked with Joe Cool at the Bengals and all of that. And as the OC, working all of those. So I personally think this hire is really, really good, especially if the Titans keep going the way that I think they're going to go, which is they're going to play Will Levis.
Yeah.
They're going to want a head coach that has a one-on-one connection with a young quarterback like that. It's interesting. I think this might be a good one for them. OC candidates that he's looking at. One is Thad Lewis, who's from Tampa. Is Tampa Bay's quarterback coach, Baker Mayfield. Eric Holtz is the Jags passing game coordinator. Your guy there, Nick. And then I also mentioned Trevor Lawrence. And then the one that I hope he actually picks, because I think the Titans might need this, is Eric Studzville, who now is the running backs coach for Miami Dolphins. Derrick Henry's gone. I couldn't pick the running backs on Titans lineup out of the lineup. Like I had no clue who they were. Yeah. So Studzville worked his way up through the running backs core at Denver. And I think he was even there when Shanahan was there. And that was the one thing I loved about Denver is Shanahan knew how to develop running backs. He knew how to bring them up young. We called him the stable and just trot him out. Here, you want Clinton Portis? Fine, we'll take Champ Bailey. That kind of thing.
Right, yeah, sure.
But I think he's going to be calling his own plays. He's going to be working with the OC, and maybe he does have a little bit of that Tommy Callahan idea about like, yeah, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at first when I thought I wasn't so sure this one, but then I was like, this guy's kind of interesting. And he's 39, so he's another really young.
There we go.
This happens in the NFL, though. All the teams that are a little lower on the totem pole, they don't want to spend a lot of money. So they try young talent, the OCs, the QB coaches, that kind of stuff, or the DCs, and give them a chance. And so we'll see what they do. So I'll be watching all of these guys. They're all kind of interesting, except for Mayo.
I'm telling you who the Titans need. They need Denzel Washington as Herman Boone. That's who they need. Will you ever quit?
Are you having fun? No, sir. Zero fun, sir. Right.
You drop a pass, I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. You will run a mile.
Look here, sunshine.
Nice edit.
Yes, Trevor Lawrence, sunshine.
Sunshine.
That's who grew up to be. Grew up to be Trevor Lawrence. But
oh my God! Yeah, I mean, he does kind of look like him.
No, it's hilarious. As soon as I saw Trevor Lawrence, I was like, "Oh, it's Sunshine." Remember Titans? Of course, we all know.
A picture of the guy. We have Sunshine on the Broncos. That I gotta send the picture around to you guys. He looks like Sunshine too.
Awesome. I like that. And of course, probably one of the biggest signings in terms of name and stature and all that. Of course. The Los Angeles Chargers, not to be confused with the San Diego Chargers, which Tina thought they were named last week. Just kidding.
Oh, they still are.
I know. I had to give her that one. But Jimmy Harbaugh leaves Michigan after a national championship, guys. And of course, goes to Los Chargers de Los Angeles. What do we really think of this? This is for anyone. Just what do you guys think of Jim Harbaugh back in the NFL after 10 years in college, 9 years in college, whatever it was?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of full circle, right? He's back to a team he's played for.
Yes, that is true. That is
Should
true.
have been us, but whatever.
Yeah, that should have been us, but whatever. That's definitely another story for another time. But all right, I got it. What do you got? Anybody else? What do you guys think of this Harbaugh hiring?
I'm hard pressed to say that Jim didn't find out that there's some stuff coming down the pipe back in Ann Arbor. Anybody remember Pete Carroll?
Sure, he took off from USC quicker than me at a lunch buffet.
Like
Absolutely, that guy was
because he was going to be.
right.
Wait a minute.
He was going to have to play with a team that was going to be so denuded it wouldn't win a title for 10 years.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. So I mean, I think glad he finally got the national championship and all that. But I think these guys have a pretty good idea because these schools have legal representation. You understand
Sure
what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm not talking about public defender representation.
Money,
They got
yeah,
6 and 7 figure representation. And I think the guy said, hey, Jim, there's some stuff coming down the pipe. You can stick around and ride it out, or you can get ahead. If I was you, I would go on over to the NFL and make your money because they're gonna strip this. They're going to strip this chicken down to the bone like Thanksgiving Day at the Clumps. For real.
Yep.
And that's how.
Well, I mean, again, and everybody started declaring for the draft after that, too, if you notice. Like, there's like 15, 16 members of that Wolverines team are like, yeah, we're not coming back. I mean, some of them were seniors, don't get me wrong. But the other kids were like, yeah, we're not staying either. We're getting out of here.
That
Bye.
happened like in Alabama, too, because Saban left and a bunch of them said, I'm out.
Yeah. Oh,
too.
God. Them 4 and 5 stars started jumping off the bus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Washington players were
wouldn't be
like
surprised.
blindsided when they let my
And then
coach
they're
up to
leaving
take the
too.
Alabama job.
Some of them are
Yeah.
drafting and already entering the transfer
Right.
portal. So it's like when you lose someone that took you to like multiple conference wins, but whatever, it's like you don't want to go back to being a mediocre or giving that or
Right.
at least risking that. You know, you're just like,
Now, to be
Yeah, no,
honest, I
believe me.
also think Ohio State's going to get hit with this too. So it looks like Michigan wasn't the only one. I think they're going to be ratting on each other. Yeah, they're all going to start ratting.
Yeah, and the thing is, like,
so it's.
I mean, I know this is
an
an NFL show, but I keep telling you guys, I'm like, eventually there's just gonna be 3 conferences, right? Because there's no Pac-12 anymore. Like that's gone.
No,
and everybody keeps jumping ship to the other conferences. Like
the only
Big 10, Big 12, and ACC, right? That'll be the 3 left.
No,
Big 10, Big 12, SEC,
the MAC conference
ACC.
is still big.
Well, you know what? The MAC will always be it'll be the only Mid-America conference. Like it'll be the only one that's like mid is the. It's true though. The MAC.
Survive.
The MAC will always The MAC will always survive, baby.
Return of the MAC.
Return of the MAC.
Yeah.
Return of the MAC. Return of the MAC.
I wonder what happened to the HBCU conference. Did they just become SEC at that point then?
No, the HBC. A lot of the HBCUs are either Division II or Division III schools. Which
Yeah, most of them are, right?
So they'll remain where they're at.
Yeah, because I think Jackson State was the only one. Wasn't Jackson State given a Division I? Or are they swag?
I think so. But even then, I think they're FCS, not FBS. Because even then in Division I, you got FBS,
BS, and then the FCS stuff,
which is where the big boys run, and then you got FCS, which is where like James Madison came from the FCS and reclassed into FBS this year.
Correct.
So there's two separate portions of Division I. But then when it comes to a lot of the HBCUs, you've got the Mid-East Atlantic Conference, the MEAC, and the SWAC, the Southwest Atlantic Conference.
Right.
So, I feel like you're overlooking talent. Sweetness came from an HBCU.
Jackson State, baby.
Listen. Let me tell you something. Y'all can't talk about talent that came from HBCU and not mention Uncle Shay Shay.
Right, Savannah State, right?
100%.
You know, I think didn't Jerry Rice come from Mississippi Valley State? Which
right. That's what my favorite part of covering HBCUs is because I get to shout out like the fraternities, and I know that makes me happy.
Right. Exactly. Right. There he goes, Ed. Get him going. They got him going. There it is.
Sorry. I was really talking about Jim Harbaugh. Anyway.
Fun fact. Well, I'm not doing fun fact. It doesn't have anything to do with the NFL.
Sorry, Jim.
But
back to Jim.
But since we're talking about, can I throw this last HBCU?
Yes, please.
You can throw whatever you want to throw in there, sir. Go ahead.
I promise I won't tell a joke about the 3 women and the duck again. I just saw that today. It made me laugh.
Okay.
Too Tall
I don't wanna know.
Jones on this date. I don't remember when, but on this date, Too Tall Jones became the first #1 draft pick in the NFL, drafted from an HBCU.
Oh,
Sweet.
and then started a successful wrestling career after that. Way to go, Too Tall
Yep.
Jones.
And I think
My
he
guy.
boxed for a little bit too.
Yeah, he did all kind of stuff. He was just because he was tall, or as he put it, he was too tall. There you go. And on that note, let's just get out of this segment then, because that bad joke was horrible.
Jesus.
No, but
Right.
we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with some fun recap.
Well, like Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, because we really didn't even talk.
He'll be all right.
Just moved on. Like,
He'll be all right.
He's fine.
In a nutshell, Jim
he'll be
Harbaugh has
fine.
shown.
I'm not happy with him being at the Chargers. So
Jim Harbaugh has shown.
Tina plays in his conference.
Oh, Jim Harbaugh has shown that he is capable of making the best of the talent that he has around him. It was evidenced by what he did when he was in San Francisco. And then he came and he went and he took over Michigan, that program at Michigan, which was on the struggle bus. And he took that program and he slowly, bit by bit, bit by bit, brick by brick, to use
built it up.
Built up a program that not only was able to regularly beat Ohio State, they were also able to win the Big 12 conference regularly, and now they have a national championship to show for it. So I think San Diego gonna be all right. Now they still have to contend with. They still got to contend with the team that's playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday.
and he'll also have to contend with his cheapskate owners.
Yep.
The Chargers ownership is not. They're stingy with the money. So we'll see.
I wonder what's in his contract. That's the only thing that they haven't really released, and I'm wondering if he's getting GM type stuff, like build it when he, you know what I mean? Because
like decisions on all that and being able to draft.
Jim likes to have those types of decisions.
Yeah,
like
we'll see.
I think if they had given him GM duties, it would have been announced. So I have a feeling the GM is still taking, but I bet you there's a clause in there that says at some point, based on how he does, he might get that GM position. So I'm just he's got to rebuild that team, especially that wide receiving core. It's old, it gets injured. Great guys on there, like. Every time Antonio Gates was in the game, I always well, there's a touchdown at least. So, but he's got some problems in the Chargers. So, and the defense is another problem they have. But I just honestly, I'm not sure what their owners are going to do there because they're notorious for.
They are. I just can't see him taking that deal over Atlanta for no reason. That's my only.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert, he likes quarterbacks. Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
He was one.
You got Joey Bosa.
I know.
You got
he could probably pick any quarterback he wants for Atlanta.
Yeah.
But anyway, but we'll see.
No, I usually say
I think they probably gave him he's got a good contract with a lot of incentives. I can see them paying for the head coach because this ownership, I forget what family it is and what beer company they own, but they moved out to LA and they're trying to keep raising their position, and it's all about how the team looks, but they don't want to spend any money on the stadium. That's why they went into the agreement with the Rams, was so that they could split the amount, and so they didn't have that cost anymore. So I can see them saying, hey, we'll pay Jim a lot, but we're going to run the rest of it very tight, except for what they're required to. Because all teams are required to be within 15% of the cap,
right?
So you have to spend that money. But it'll be. I'm not looking forward to this. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's
because exactly what Andy was saying, and everyone else has said, Harbaugh is a good coach. He takes what he has and he gets it to work, and he's gonna get people to play for him, and he's gonna design things around Herbert and give him a base that he can work with to actually start him. Oh, if I was Herbert, I'd be through the moon.
Thank
now.
you. Right. Thank you. A coach who
So-
could actually coach me.
and-
Thanks.
Yeah. And you know what? As much as I don't like other teams in my league,
Of course.
if they can compete with the Chiefs, I will enjoy it.
Right.
Because
Correct.
I'm tired of the Chiefs. Oh, I'm just tired of the Chiefs.
I know.
I'm just tired. I'm just tired.
I get it.
Oh no, believe me, I got some stories for when we get into the next segment. Of I watched the games with Tina on Sunday, so we had some fun times there at the old almost home there watching.
And I can't blame some of these comments on alcohol because I didn't drink that much. This was just pure me. So
always fun. Yes, Andy, go ahead, buddy.
I have you asked about the Spanos family. I just did a quick dive. Okay, you want to know how these people made their money? How they got started? The dad borrowed $800 from a bank to start a catering business. Now during World War II, in Vietnam, there were a lot of migrant workers that were brought into California to do a lot of the work that was done by guys that were going off to World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, selling bologna sandwiches to migrant workers. That's how this man started the foundation that built to where, not the current owner, that's the dad.
Right.
That's insane. I'm getting ready to go right now. I'm getting ready to take my paycheck I'm getting on Friday and go to Aldi and buy all the damn bologna bread and mayonnaise I can find. You won't help me?
You have a much smaller profit margin than they had.
Right, exactly. Smaller profit margin.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I have lived in multiple places now where there are large Latino communities. Those folks believe in getting together and putting their monies together. You'll see like 7, 8 of them in a house. Like we got to have our own place, our own apartment, our own house.
Yes.
It'll be 8 or 9 of them living in a house together. They all got jobs. They put their money together. Them cats have money. If I'm selling $8 bologna sandwiches, you best believe they'd be like, keep it change.
And if someone in the neighborhood comes up with an idea, like the whole community will get behind them and like help him invest money or help him do this or do that and all this stuff. And I mean, it's something I saw as I was growing up, but in my community, it's not so much anymore. We're not so neighborhoody, but I think it's great. I mean, I really do. I mean, I make fun. And I remembered what beer it is. It's Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Pabst
Blue Ribbon out there, and we're trying to make it the new hipster beer.
It worked. Are you kidding? That's all I see at Wrigley. Every hipster I know has either a PBR in their hand or a what's the other one? I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me.
Yeah, like
turkey, lettuce, potato sandwich for the. There you go. Well, and of course, Sean Spencer and his Golden Girls reference. We all knew that was coming, right? Like Sean, get the Golden Girls reference in there, Sean.
Rosario, don't you dare besmirch those beautiful.
I agree.
I love that show. I was just watching the episode last night where they had to install the toilet.
Yes, I'm with you.
I like that Estelle Getty played the mom and wasn't even the oldest one out of the actresses.
Nope,
that was fun.
I know.
They had to dress her up
to
be
old. They're
all
my age. They're all my age, our age. Well, except for
at the time they were right. Yeah, they were all.
Yeah, they were in their 50s.
At the time they were.
And
at that time. Yeah.
I'm like, this doesn't work, but okay.
Nothing against them because they were lovely, but it's a testament to how we have learned to age because we, in our 50s and 40s, definitely look much younger than our ages would indicate. You understand what I'm saying? When you looked at Betty White, you knew Betty White was 50. You knew Blanche was 50. You knew B. Arthur was 50.
B. Arthur.
At that time, that's what 50 looked like. 50
yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy to think about because, like you said, now that I'm into my 50s, I'm like, oh, I always get I don't look that old, so I think that's great. Thank you.
Nah, I was like, when I told my teammates how old I was, remember I told y'all I out-age everybody by a minimum of 10 to 12 years. That's in the department. My new manager, because my other team lead, I told you that guy was 35 going towards 36. The new manager is 27, same age as my oldest son, and his boss is getting ready to be 28. So anyway, when I told them how old I was, they were like, I never would have thought that. I thought maybe you were like in your like late 30s because there's a lot of folks rocking the gray for a fashion statement. I
Yeah.
was like, oh no, these is all natural. I got these
Yeah.
on. Jesus gave these to me one night when I was sleeping. He said, "It's just time for you to have them now." So, okay.
Oh,
man.
I love it. All right. And on that note, let us take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the Comedy Hour with Tina, Delilah, Handy, and myself. Don't go away.
Delilah Crespo is going to be hosting for Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. And Let's Talk Football ladies.
Hey.
All right. That, of course, was Delilah. Again, Delilah, Diversity with Delilah, I think, is on every Monday. That comes out every Monday, correct? So look for that. Always, we love the Diversity with Delilah. And, of course, you find her here on Tuesday nights and Thursdays on the Ladies Takeover. So there you go. Let's get into now the recaps from this past weekend. As we now know who our Super Bowl teams are. They played this weekend in their respective games. We'll start with the AFC Championship game. The Baltimore Ravens against the Kansas City Chiefs. And, this 1 and 3 seed matchup. And, of course, he came out on top again, folks. We all thought he was dead, right? Comedy and football. That's a great new name. Or maybe football and fun. We're going to work on that, Sean. We'll have to have an executive meeting and make sure we get all that right, and we'll do all that. But, yeah, we'll come up with something, my friend. Thank you. But, yeah, Patty Mahomes does it again. They thought he was down. They thought he was out. They thought Kansas City was done for. But it's not to be. And he thwarts the efforts of one Lamar Jackson. And there was a lot that happened in this game, though. And as I mentioned a little earlier, it was fun to sit with Tina and watch this game because, as you know, Tina is such a Patrick Mahomes fan that she just couldn't contain herself during some of it. And I probably can't repeat some of what she said on Sunday, but nonetheless, I was thoroughly entertained. Outside of that, it was great, and it's always great too because we do have a group thread, so you guys need to know that Delilah was at a bar like 6 blocks from us. So we were all in the same vicinity. So Delilah's on the group chat and Tina's back and forth on the group chat. And I'm just going, oh, what did Delilah say? Because I'm not even paying attention to the damn group chat. I'm trying, we had these 2 drunks in the bar fighting with each other that I kept talking to Tina about. That's another story for another day too, because they were pretty funny. And it just the whole thing was just a comedy show from like start to finish.
Fan with a guy that seemed like he was a Chiefs fan, but then he was also
he had a Packers hat on,
like Lions
fan.
And
it's just That was one of those things you just go, what is going on here? There was plenty of alcohol involved, so those 2 were yapping at each other the whole thing, and Tina and I were just cracking. But we'll get to the game now. To say all that, 17-10, obviously the Chiefs come out on top. Well, you know what, Tina, I'll start with you, since, like I said, you and I were there together, and we were commenting throughout the entire thing. Was this a colossal Baltimore failure, this game? Losing this game like this? What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Chiefs necessarily won. I think that the Baltimore collapsed. They couldn't get their offense going. Their defense looked good, at least in the second half of the game. And all that being said, and the reason why I say that is that defense kept Patrick Mahomes to 17 points in a playoff game. And yeah, they only lost by a TD. So the defense played well. The offense was like freaking already off to the Bahamas already because it just did not look good. They never got anything going, and it's so bad because Lamar Jackson is an extremely talented athlete, and this is just another case of it's not necessarily his fault, but he's going to get a lot of blame for this. And there's a lot of detractors that are like, oh, there you go. Ravens collapsed again, et cetera, et cetera. And I just, but, and even though I hate saying this, the Chiefs actually played a very good game. And Steve Spagnuolo had that defense primed and ready to go. Yeah. And they were on fire.
Mhm.
And I forget who it was. I don't think it was you, Guy. Or maybe it was Delilah. Maybe you were like, "Why don't they double team Kelsey?" And I was like, "Because if you double team Kelsey, you just opened up a wide receiver. So what does Mahomes do? I'm going there." And
Yeah, he had
have
the
somebody
most
to cover the
catches.
extra wide
He broke
Seriously.
receiver.
the record.
I know, but
Seriously,
it's the
he was
Gronk
DJ
problem.
Khaled.
It's the Gronk problem. It's the Kelsey
No.
problem. It's the Kittle problem. These tight ends are so good that if you do take that DB or that secondary person to cover them, you just exposed a hole in your defense and good quarterbacks. And Brady is the epitome of this. Every time they double teamed Gronk, he threw it somewhere else. It went to Edelman. It went to Randy Moss or one of those guys. You're just opening up a can of worms with that. So, but I agree, like 20 yards, 20 yards, 20 yards. The man had over 110 yards. Like close, I think it was close to 130 yards in the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what their offense is built around. Throw to
Yeah.
Kelsey. He's a big man. He can take the hit. He
Yeah.
can get the sacks, and then hope the others caught. And unlike in regular season, they actually had sticky fingers and they caught the
Yeah,
ball.
no. Well, that was a good. Travis had a really nice catch over the middle where he had to dive for it. He kind of just grabbed it out of the
That
air.
was
Like that
Yeah,
was very
Yeah,
impressive. I was like,
I
"Way to
that
go,
think it
Trey!"
was.
that
Oh, you
that
talking
was a
about the one where
beautiful
he had
catch.
to, where he kind of had to do the Odell Beckham? That
Mhm.
one?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he just pulled it down. He was like, "Let me get that," as he was
Well,
falling to the ground.
his hand's probably about big as my head.
Probably, absolutely. That's why Taylor
That's
likes
a
him.
big.
That's
That's a
another
big
story,
ass
though.
hand because I got a big ass head.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But yeah, there you go. But
And I'll let
well,
someone
you know,
else
one of
talk
the
about it, but what
oh
about
yeah,
Pacheco? Let
no,
you guys
and
talk
obviously
about
that
Pacheco.
was one of the that was one of the things I mentioned
Big
last
fan of
week. So
Pacheco. Yeah.
Delilah, we're going to go to you with this one. I talked about the offensive line of the Chiefs versus the defensive line of the
Mhm.
Ravens and how I thought didn't Pacheco just wipe that out essentially with with what he did with the runs that he had? Like it just literally didn't seem like the Ravens had an answer for him at times.
Yeah, I mean, he came into his playoffs hot. Like when I saw him in the wild card game, literally charging through the snow and below zero, like he didn't even feel it. I was like, oh, he went beast mode in the, you know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
is not playing around, and he had like that. He was why the Chiefs won that game. Remember, Kels messed up. He had
Yep.
dropped
Well,
passes.
he had a couple. He
Like
had a
that was
couple.
actually
Yeah.
a really bad game for him. But Checo was the one that was lighting it up.
Huh?
Yeah, with 3 touchdowns that game or something. Like it was crazy. And
Oh,
so
the
I
wild
was
card
like,
game you talking about? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he did. I think he did. Yeah.
That's where it started. And
Yeah.
then same thing, boom, he kicked butt when they played, when they played the next game. And it was just like he was just lights out. And that's why I'm like, oh man, they need to defend against that. Now, at the same time, it's not a blowout, guys. KC,
No,
it's
it wasn't.
17-10. So at the same time, it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't like, it was 31-10 or 7 or something,
Right.
It wasn't a blowout. There were times where, Mahomes did get sacked. He did get pressured more than he has by the other teams previously. They didn't lose because of the defense. They lost because of offense. I'm actually
Just couldn't
really
get
disappointed in
anything
John
going.
Harbaugh, to be honest, and the offensive coordinator, whoever that is. I feel like they just messed up. They took their foot off what made them win. They dropped the run game. Like they didn't use Gus Edwards, and that guy's a monster. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when, he had how many like rushing yards in the regular season? He had many rushing yards. The other 2 games that they won, like the wild card, not the wild card because they didn't. But you know what I mean? The game against Houston, didn't Gus have like a monster game against Houston? And so I feel like they abandoned the run game. They didn't let Lamar run, which is like, yeah, we know he could do both. He could run and he could pass. Like, what are you doing? Like, I feel like they abandoned what made them actually be the number 1 seed. Like, I don't know. That was like really bad play calling in my opinion, and not as aggressive as we've seen them do before. Like usually we've seen that offense really aggressive and even take chances. And they just were not playing that way. And I was just really surprised. And that's when Lamar started making mistakes, because then he started forcing stuff. And then he started, you know what I mean? And that's that. And I feel because he was getting frustrated and say, like, what is this? Like, they couldn't get any connections. Like, Zay Flowers had a great catch.
Oh,
My God, that was a phenomenal passing catch. But that's all. That's all.
Well,
Like,
to that end, to Handy, I'll come to you with this, because this was one of the things that I went, wow, man, is it a rookie mistake or just a matter of in the moment in the game? But that pass that he caught at the 10-yard line, he gets a taunting penalty that pushes him back to the 25. Now, if you remember on that drive is also when he fumbles at the 1, when he's going in for the touchdown. So, Handy, was this a case of Baltimore just made way too many mistakes, or was Kansas City's game plan just that good in this game? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with Nate here. I know Nate is feeling it real bad right now. Shout out to our guy, Nathan Snell. Appreciate you tuning in. This game was Baltimore's to win or lose. The fact that they got held to 10 points, and they were the 4th highest scoring offense in the league, 28 points a game. I mean, the 2 highlights of the game that I saw, during the time I watched it, I caught the rest of it through replays. Was when they had Lamar, the defense had him wrapped up. He broke the tackles, broke free, rolled left, set his feet. As soon as he set his feet, I said he's going deep. He hit Zay Flowers for that touchdown. I said, okay, this is going to be a decent game. And then I didn't see anything else that it really impressed me except for him catching the batted pass. Baltimore just I'm with you, Nate, and I'm not dogging your squad, bro. This is me, just like when a certain other team lost the Super Bowl. They didn't step up. I'm not letting it go. Win a damn Super Bowl, I'll stop talking about it. But my therapist says I'm doing much better now. That
you do much better. That's good.
It's serious, not to joke about anybody out there that's just going to therapy. Not to joke about that. That's a serious deal. If you need it, by all means, go get it. I've done it myself on multiple different occasions and always wound up coming out on the other side doing better. It was Baltimore's game to win or lose, and they did not step up. This is not the Baltimore Ravens team that I watched play all season long. This Baltimore Ravens team looked lost at times. And to the Zay Flowers thing, young man, let me tell you something. Just because you got it, don't mean you got to flown it. Sometimes you just hand the ball to the man in the striped shirt, the one that looked like the character that Chris Rock played in that movie. The one when he was animated was the best movie he was in because we didn't see his face the whole movie.
Oh my God!
Sometimes you got to hand the ball to the
zebra.
Madagascar, right?
You just got to hand the ball to the man in the striped shirt and then go back over to your sideline and say, "Coach, did I do good? Do I get some milk and cookies?" And sit your butt down on the bench.
That's hilarious.
These young kids, the thing is, they are like, don't get me wrong, it's entertaining to a point, but it's like, the game, you have not won the game yet. You haven't. They was swag surfing when he got his, they was like, oh, we gonna show Taylor Swift. Look, this is how you supposed to really swag surf. You really supposed to swag surf. And then you lost the game. So the only highlight you got is getting a taunting penalty and swag surfing.
Yeah.
But you ain't got no AFC championship trophy, boo-boo. You just don't have it.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
go ahead, Ladala.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I think that we all kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, KC defense were ready for Lamar. They kept him off the field. That's what helped them win, by the way, too, is because they know Lamar's dangerous. Like, they do. Yeah. They recognize that. How many minutes did they have possession of ball versus Baltimore?
It was huge.
That's how
I think
often, they knocked him off the field. Like, I don't know how many times, forced on the punt. Like, I mean, completely were like, we're not even going to let this guy touch the ball.
Nope. I commented that to Tina because at one point they put that center. It was like 23 minutes to 6 or whatever in the first half, and I'm like, good God, like really?
Yeah. I think it was more like 31 to something. It was.
You're just like, what is going on here, my friend? Like that's time of possession horrible for Baltimore. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, But then you'd see like the offensive line was keeping that pocket open, and you would see Lamar bouncing around
Weaving
and
in and out,
stuff.
yeah.
Like sometimes I literally was like, how is he doing this?
Yeah.
Like, so it was just
Yeah.
something.
Sorry, Baltimore. Nate, I know
Yeah,
you're
sorry,
hurting.
Nate.
Yeah, I know you're hurting.
Yeah.
I know where the comments are coming from. Take the break you need. We've all been there, buddy. We've all been there, buddy.
Oh yeah,
I'm
believe
gonna-
me, Nate. We feel your pain, sir. But yeah,
Yeah.
The
all-
reason
all
Aaron
of us.
Rodgers has
Yeah,
a
mine
Super
was
Bowl
a
is 'cause we
safety
messed
in the
up.
first play of a Super Bowl.
yeah.
Okay, I feel the pain.
Well, I'm going to say this to the point that you were making, Delilah, about or who was it that was making the point about everybody putting it on Lamar Jackson? Listen, just like I said last week before, that you have 60 minutes in a football game.
Yeah.
There are 22 players on the field, 11 on
Right.
offense, 11 on defense,
11
and
on
then if
defense.
you got an extra 11 guys, if none of them are doubling up, you got 11 guys on special teams. So 33 dudes that are playing. Well, 32 because I don't know, the place kicker and the long kicker don't necessarily be the same person. Plus the punter is a different guy. So 34, maybe 35. But you got at least 30 some odd guys that see the field during this 60-minute game. Each and every one of them has an individual assignment that they're responsible for. The receiver is supposed to catch the ball. The tight end is just a really big receiver with muscles. The lineman is supposed to block. The center hands the ball to the quarterback. The quarterback hands the ball to the running back. The defensive guys, they just supposed to tackle whoever on the other side has the ball in their hand or keep the guy that's running down the field from catching the ball. It's that freaking simple.
Thanks for that.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is Lord have mercy. The point that I'm trying to make is that you can't just pin this whole thing to those people that are beating Lamar across the head. It is not all on Lamar. And not to forget the people that get paid insane amounts of money to stand on the sideline holding the thing in front of their face, trying to pretend like they talking in secret, like Connor Stallions is not over in the other side in a disguise, taking pictures and stealing their signs. I said that out loud, didn't I? Hey, San Diego fans, he's coming. Anyway, those guys are responsible for teaching the guys on the field to play. And there were some times where they fell short too. So this does not all fall on Lamar. You can say what he wants. He's not quarterback enough. He's just a running back. Leave that man alone. Some of y'all just mad because he got money and y'all ain't. So he's out there playing the game. Some of y'all think y'all know how to play. And if you feel like you can do better, Nate will be more than happy to put the address to the training camp in the comments, and you can get in your car or hop on the plane. Just don't fly Southwest because the doors fall off.
You sending these folks to Baltimore?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I have a plan. It's all in my plan. Y'all go to Baltimore. Y'all go to the train. Y'all go to Baltimore. Say, I'm here for training camp. I want Lamar Jackson's job and see how well you do. And then when you go out there and you embarrass yourself.
Yeah, no, he said no one watched The Wire. Yeah, don't go to Baltimore. What are you going to Baltimore for?
I'm just kidding.
What do you want to go to? No, I know.
I know some stereotypes.
But have you watched The Wire? Have you watched it?
No, Nate. I'm going to do it. I'm not giving him a pass, but what I'm saying is it does not all fall on him. All the people that are jumping on his back, there was a whole lot of monumental failure. I don't want to say it that bad, but there were other failures on that squad. It wasn't just all him. Yeah, he didn't have his best game.
Of course, he had a bad
but
game.
I've seen times where a quarterback has had a bad game and the rest of the team has lifted him up.
And nobody picks him up. Yeah,
nobody had your boys back. So I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm done with that.
No, it's okay. Again, I think we all agree it was Baltimore's game to win it, and they just didn't get it done in the end.
They didn't.
So let's move on to the second game from that day, which was definitely the tale. I can talk today. The tale of two halves here with the Lions and the 49ers, as we all saw. Because for those of you who were paying attention, it was 24-7 at halftime. And there were some Lions fans in the bar, right, Tina? They were pretty happy with what was going on there with that 24-7 at halftime. And they got really quiet once the fourth quarter hit in that game. So, yeah, exactly. But, yeah, as we all know, the comeback by Brock Purdy and the 49ers to win 34-31 in the NFC Championship game. I don't even – And again, there's a lot you could say about this game because, again, it really was a tale of two halves.
It was.
And Handy, we'll jump back to you, Mr. Handy. Because
Okay.
just go ahead. No, just go ahead, right? Just go ahead and say it because I got a lot I wanted. I have too many thoughts in my head about this game. Just go ahead and give me your impression of what happened here.
Oh, you want an impression of what happened? The
Sure.
Detroit Lions did a perfect impression of the Atlanta Falcons in Super Bowl 51. They went into the locker room joking and laughing, thinking they had it all wrapped up, forgetting that there was still how many y'all remember, class? Do y'all remember my lecture on the football game? How many minutes it is in the game? How many minutes
60, right?
How many minutes was it left in the game when they went in the locker room? It was still 30, right? Okay, I just
30,
checked.
I believe. Yes,
So the
sir.
Lions
30.
went into the locker room thinking they had it all wrapped up, and they came back out. And I don't know what speech Shanahan gave in the locker room. I don't know who he threatened to kick in the baby bag if they didn't go out there and do the business they were supposed to do. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, I can't say that on this show. I was supposed to say John Brown hind parts. But whoever it was that he threatened to physically assault if they didn't get out there and do their jobs or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But them boys came out ready to run through walls and eat flying bullets. And that's exactly what they did. And for the second week in a row, I said this when the game was going on. I said, wait a minute, CMC hadn't done his thing yet. Because who was the guy that scored the winning touchdown last week? CMC. Who was the guy that broke through and said, I don't know if he scored it or he set it up, the winning touchdown this past weekend?
Set it up.
He set it up.
CMC.
You cannot leave CMC to his own devices. The boy is dangerous.
Yeah.
But the boys is dangerous, like that Busta Rhymes song. What is it? We are dangerous. You should make us delirious. Something like that. I don't remember how the lyrics go, but don't quote me on that, Bus. I'm sorry, Bus. I messed your lyrics up. I'm using them much better. But the whole point is this: 60 minutes. The Lions gave us 30, and then they came back out, and then they were like, "Oh snap, we could still actually win this thing." But by then there wasn't enough time left on the clock. You couldn't score one touchdown in one touchdown in 27 minutes, and then you ran down the field and scored one, and it was too late. Then why you didn't score it in the first quarter? That would have been the difference between the win and the loss. And I'm not gonna get too deeper into that. It's just the Lions. It was a monument. Now you want to talk about a monumental failure, Nate? This was a monumental failure because they just came back and let San Francisco just.
They didn't adjust.
Yeah,
they didn't adjust to the game.
Nope, not at all. They were just like that scene
in life. They kept the same defense. They didn't, and I mean Gibbs and those guys, the running backs that Detroit had, they were running right through everything. San Francisco's defense made adjustments for that. They were still having good games. It's just they couldn't get those third down conversions. They couldn't. We'll probably also talk about the fourth down, some of those decisions and things like that.
Oh, sure.
But
sure.
I mean, that's the thing. Like I saw a lot of stuff on social media and everything, like when it was going on. And I just kept saying to myself, and I even may have said it out loud, this is Shanahan. He's not out until it's 0-0 on the clock.
100%. Yeah.
And I also said this too. I go, Christian McCaffrey, look at his face. He's pissed right now.
Yeah. Oh,
and when he gets pissed, he turns into a bulldog and he's just just going for it. And Handy, I think he probably would have ran in that touchdown, their last touchdown, except for the fact that he landed on his neck. That was him at that point. Like they're not going to screw around with Christian at that point. No. They're gonna. He's gone. Yeah, it was Nick. What was it? Didn't you say something that was like 24 unanswered points in the second half?
It's like, oh my god! All of a sudden, they scored with what, a minute left? Like a minute, whatever it was left. Like it was 24-7 at half. Then before you look up, it's 31 to 24. And you're going, they've scored 24 unanswered points. They didn't score the entire second half till that last minute. I mean, and that's what I was going to mention to you, Delilah, because I know you were watching this whole thing too. What adjustments were the biggest thing here? It just looked like Detroit, really, like Anthony said, they just at halftime, they went, all right, we got this in the bag. No reason to make adjustments, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And yeah, you saw what happened.
They didn't stack up the points. I'm actually surprised because he made the sensible decision before halftime, which I agreed, kick the field goal. Don't go for that when they were 4th and goal. And so that's why I was actually shocked, which I know he's done it before, right? He was known all season doing that 4th and whatever. But he didn't gamble the second quarter. He kicked the field goal and went into the locker room. And so I was actually surprised that he didn't do that again. To tie the game again and just go into overtime. Like, I was actually like, that's the part that a lot of people are more like, yeah, the 24 ounce points is crazy, but you stack up points against San Francisco. Like, that's literally what the difference was in previous games when you play San Francisco. You know what I mean? Like, Green Bay knew that too. Even they said, "Oh, we messed up because they were not kicking the extra points either when they had those field goal chances." Right? Like, it's kind of like, I was in a Packers bar, but the owner is really football minded, so it was actually really it's a fun bar. It's cool people there, and a lot of Detroit fans made reservations there because they know that a lot of the games are played there.
Yeah.
And even though it was exciting to watch, I'm like, oh wow, it's really good the first half, but I also understand football, and so when I saw the shift in the second half, I was like, yeah, there goes CMC, there goes Kittle.
Well, that's what it was.
There goes
the whole offense just I mean, Kittle got involved.
I was like, there to go. There goes Bosa. He's mad. I was like, oh, here we go. And so I was like, man, I really wanted a Eminem, Taylor Swift Super Bowl across boxes, or maybe they'd be in the same suite.
That was funny. Yeah, put them in the same suite. That would be great. No, but I mean, really, because watching this, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and you're amazed. You're going, wait, what are you doing? Like, you have made absolutely zero adjustments at all for this second half. Like, Brock Purdy, here's what I think, too. For anybody, all of you football pundits, all of you critics, all of you, whoever you want to be, if I hear Brock Purdy as a game manager one more time, I will get upset. Because I'm going to tell you
something. Purdy did the doggone thing.
No, but I'm saying that's my point too. Like, he proved that, hey, you know what? Because he started moving, he started hitting the open receivers. He got CMC going, and he ran. Well, that was going to be my next point, Tina. He ran the ball when he had to. Brock Purdy's not a runner, but the guy is smart and he's a good football player. And he recognized, hey, I got to do what I got to do here. And he took off a few times, and you're like, well, look at that. How about that? Brock Purdy runs. But that's my point, man. He played a phenomenal second half.
He really
and you cannot take that away. And again, as much as we know the Lions collapsed here, and Brock Purdy proved, I'm not a game manager, folks. I can take over a game. I could bring my team back. This is what was missing. Okay, Sean, I'm not saying there's necessarily anything wrong with it, Sean. Right. I get Sean's point. But my point is but they're using it negatively, bro. Correct. They're like, oh, he's just a game manager. He's just that. That's all I'm saying. Yes, Tom Brady was probably the greatest game manager ever in NFL history. No doubt about that. Because Tom Brady's another subject for another time. He threw a trophy onto a boat. Sean's still mad about that. But my only point here is it was used in a negative way with Brock Purdy. And that's my point. This guy is much more than that. He proved that on Sunday to me because he stepped up. He brought his team back. They didn't quit. They didn't cry. They didn't do any of that. They didn't go, oh, my God, we're losing. Again, Sean, I just said there is nothing wrong with Brock Purdy being a game. I'm just saying, though, it was used negatively, and that's my point. He proved that he's more than that. It's not just that. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, that game.
I agree. I know what Nick is saying. So us here know what you mean because we kind of understand football, but even analysts are biased because he's still carrying that he was
Mr. Irrelevant tag.
Yeah. It was number
72, whatever the hell it was. Yeah, exactly. Whatever it was.
So usually when people still talk about him, they still do place that on him. Like, he's not called Mr. Irrelevant anymore, but that's still hanging on his shoulder, even though
they brought it up the entire week leading into the game and everything.
They did.
Everybody's like, how is Mr. Relevant going to be going to the Super Bowl, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One of the national shows I listened to, they raised a very good point that if Purdy had been in the league 20, 30 years ago, he would be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Because back at that time, quarterbacks were more game managers.
Yeah.
There weren't the Lamars. There weren't
No.
these people that could throw 40, 50 yards, no
Right.
problem.
But they ran a lot more as well back 30 years ago.
Yeah,
It was always
Oh yeah.
defense.
Yeah.
It was defense and running backs.
Yeah.
Like that. What you had to get. Every quarterback was a game manager because you threw
Yeah.
10 to 15-yard passes at most because you had a running game that was good. So yeah, absolutely. The game has totally changed. It's
Yeah.
all offensive now. Yeah, absolutely.
And it cracks me up because the very people are like, well, I wish we would go back to the way it was where defenses could be defenses and blah, 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 blah. But then
Well, I'm
they're
not gonna
looking at
lie.
Brock
I like.
Purdy and going, but you're a game manager, so that needs to change. It's like, you can't have one. You
I know.
can't have
Right.
one.
I still like
I
Smash Mouth
agree.
football.
You better say it for the
I do
people in
too.
the back.
I do too, but it's one of
Smash Mouth
those,
football.
it's just
Defense and running backs.
like-
Ugh. I like that.
Yeah,
I know. Sorry.
quarterback's
Sorry.
allowed to chip people off. I love that whole thing.
Yeah.
But but what I was going to say is, and this
Yeah.
is something that I thought about going into the game, is when it started happening, I was like,
Yeah.
to me, the biggest piece of the puzzle were the secondaries of San Francisco and Detroit able to hold up? And I think in that game, San Francisco's secondary stepped up
Yeah,
and started causing problems
for sure.
with some of the younger wide receivers that
For the
Detroit
Lions,
had.
Yeah.
And the fullback thing just cracks me up.
I love it.
with-
Cal Juszczyk, baby. Had a good game, actually.
Yeah.
Had a couple catches there, yeah.
But the Detroit secondary fell apart.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
And I'm not gonna lie,
The-
I
the-
said it. I
the
said
face
it. If
mask
Debo's
don't-
in this
that was it.
game, it's gonna create issues. And
who was that, Handy? Who was the guy you did? It was Kindle Vildor, who I said last year I don't want on the Bears anymore, and he ended up on the Lions. So I was glad we got rid of him because he got burnt like toast all the time here in Chicago, and the poor guy gives one right off the face mask to Brandon Ayuk. So
Exactly.
Kindle
And
Vildor,
and
sorry,
that's-
buddy, I know you're.
That's gotta be the absolute worst way to give one up.
Oh, yeah.
For somebody who
100%
gets
though.
burnt-
Yeah.
for somebody who gets burnt, he probably was watching it going, "Oh my god, I'm actually gonna get an interception. I'm gonna get a vault." He actually
Nope.
caught it. Oh,
No, yeah, right in the
man.
face
And-
mask. Doink.
They're gonna
and
make
then
me ride in the
Chief
luggage
has it
rack
on the
on the plane
5-yard
home.
line.
Yeah, well, what can you
It
do, right? As I said.
Um,
Again, it's such a big collapse. You just go, wow, how did and the thing too, Ben Johnson was criticized a lot too for what some of the plays he called in that second half. Because it's like you're still ahead at this point. Like when third quarter, San Francisco was trying to make a comeback, you were still ahead, and you didn't do anything. I mean, San Francisco made adjustments, and the defense was on fire in the second half. But my point is, you got to find a way to overcome that. You had your offense. You still had all the major players from the entire year that you had on offense, and you could not find a way to get past your own selves. And that. So yeah, Johnson took a little criticism there too. But again, and of course, he didn't take the job in Washington or Seattle. He will be back with the Lions next year. He has already said that. So Ben Johnson will be back for another year. But again,
I do want
go
to
ahead,
make
Delilah.
sure that I say, Lions fans, you don't have to wear brown paper bags anymore.
no, definitely not.
Your
Absolutely
team is going to
nothing to hang
continue
their
to be
head about.
competitive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're going to work on it off season. They're going to fix the defense. They're going to look at that secondary. They're going to, because they're actually making smart decisions. When they
100%.
especially the fact that they made it back to the NFC Championship in 30-something years. They're not going to
their
want to
draft
wait
alone this past year was phenomenal. When you look at
yeah,
who they
they're
picked
not
up.
going to wait another 30-something years
until
to
half
prepare.
of them were out for gambling violations.
Well, that's a
Paging
whole.
Keyshawn Boutte. Paging
Yeah.
Keyshawn
That
Boutte.
was one of the things that we did talk about at the game. Williams.
Yeah, Paige
the
and
guy who was
Jameson
running
Williams.
for
Paige and Jameson. Right.
He was
One of the guys who got caught for that. Yeah,
suspended
he was one of the. Yeah.
earlier the year for gambling violations.
Yeah, Tito brought that up. I was like, "Isn't that the guy who was suspended for gambling?" I'm like, yeah, it was. I was like, yeah,
And then
it was.
another one come
He
out
had
and
a
I go,
good game,
"Was he also?"
Yeah, Tito was all over that one. She's like, "Hey, wasn't that guy suspended too?" Yes, that was him.
Yes, he
Yeah,
was.
totally. Yeah,
Like,
again,
he still
on
got
the
it
team
done.
was suspended.
But no.
Like,
So
believe me,
kudos to
I
Lions
do.
fans.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I wanted
Yeah.
to say. Where
Yeah.
I know that you're taking it hard, but Kat, Christina, Eminem If you ever watched
Cage, yeah,
football show,
Cage.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Like,
all you
that's
Lions
it,
fans out
like,
there.
you know,
Yeah.
be proud of
I
your
know a
team.
lot of
Seriously.
people
Yeah, that was
are
yeah,
upset that they didn't make it. And honestly,
100%.
it's a great story, great effort by them and everything. And I'll admit, yes, I have the connections that I have, but my biggest thing was I wanted the best team to make it out of this game because I want them to win on the 11th and beat the Chiefs. And
Right. That's
I
that. There we
Sensing a
go.
theme
that
here,
game
Tina.
was concerning to me. It really was concerning to me, but we'll see what happens. So,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I get it.
So,
You know, and
I mean,
again, what do you? I don't know. We can. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. Like I said,
I
I
agree.
felt
I
sorry
think
for
the
Detroit, but
Chiefs
at the
are
same
set up.
time, it's just like, yeah, I did. Sorry.
The
Go
best
ahead.
team won. The best
Yeah.
team on that particular day won. That's why it's called Any Given Sunday. It just
Yep.
and it can be any given quarter, half, however you want to put it. So,
Yep. No, I hear you. And oh, sorry, what happened? What did I do there? Oh my God, I lost myself. I was trying to do something and I got myself all screwed up. No, what I was sorry. So what we're gonna do now is normally next week, of course, is an off week in terms of there's no games next week. They've got the Pro Bowl and all that super stuff. So we'll save our Super Bowl preview for next week. We'll get into that. We'll do a whole thing with that. We'll probably have some trivia. I have some ideas. We'll talk to the crew, see what we can come up with to kind of entertain you guys next week as well. So we'll go into that. So as always, how we end every show, one last thought. So for this Tuesday, we'll go around if anybody has anything. Tina, we'll start with you. One last thought for this Tuesday.
enjoy your week. Have a good time. Do whatever you want. I don't care. Break rules. I mean, like, enjoy
Do whatever you
yourself.
want. Right. Okay.
You decide you want to take hookie from work or school or whatever, just go ahead and do it. I don't care.
Okay.
I
love it.
From
It's
us
just
all
like,
the
yeah,
time.
what-
They're free.
I
I'm gonna get my photos
I
from
can't
there
come
free
up
at
with
work.
anything else. I'm going to repeat myself that I've said 4
It's
times
okay.
already.
It's
or-
quite all right. That's
but-
quite all right.
And I did have an idea of what my last thought was going to be, but I will save it for next week.
Oh, okay, very good. All right, well there we go. Something to look forward to. Yee.
Oh, everybody probably
Mr.
knows what I'm going to say.
It's okay. Right,
Beat the
it's okay.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
You're gonna say I want everybody, the San Francisco fans, to buy all the tickets and go to Las Vegas so we can yell really loud so that the 49ers can beat the Chiefs.
There you go.
That's my
Something to
one
that
last
effect, right? Something to that
Something
effect,
to
right?
that effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Handy, how about you, sir?
Pretty
One
cool.
last thought for this Tuesday. Yeah, exactly.
Learn to be prepared for change. I know we live in a world where, and this is not to knock the awareness of people needing places that they can retreat to when they get overwhelmed, but I know we'd be prepared for change. Went into work. I'd been out sick for a week. I got in on Friday, and I was on my way in, and I got a call. Said, "Hey, stop and get some stuff for work because today is our team leader's last day. He's going to corporate." So the day I went back to work, he was on his way out the door. We got a new team lead. He's been working with us now for a couple days. I mean, he's a cool dude. He's been working with us for a couple days, whatever. But I mean, and there were changes all the way around the building. They split our team up, and most of the folks on the team had been on the team for 2-3 years before I got there. So just try to learn that change does happen, and not all change is bad. Now, we don't know if it's good or bad yet because it's only been 2 days now, but not all change is always bad. So just, control the things you can, but the things that you can't, try not to get too bent out of shape about them. And that's probably the shortest one last thought I've ever had.
That's okay. Again, still effective though, my friend. So
With
we
no
appreciate
jokes.
it. No, oh wow. We had plenty during the show. It's okay. We could try to be serious for a moment. It's fine. No big deal, right?
Nah.
Delilah, how about you, Delilah? One last thought on this Tuesday?
I mean, well, two things really quickly. One is that it's a reminder that Brock Purdy was selected 262 in the 2022 NFL draft, and Isaiah Pacheco was picked 251. Both went in the 7th round. What I need to say is you just never know. When you get your shot, take advantage of that opportunity, right? Just,
Yep.
Just like the Eminem song, right? Everybody gets one shot. Like, there's a reason why that song goes hard, And so,
Well, it's
when
Mom
you get
Spaghetti. That's why it goes
it's
hard.
no, I'm just saying, like, really, when you get
No,
an opportunity, however slim, even if you have your haters, your doubters, because that's never gonna go away. Even when you win stuff, that doesn't go away.
right.
Like, people still gonna hate on you. But I just say, it's like, if you whatever shot you're given, to follow your dreams or whatever you worked hard for, just keep at it, because you just never know. And the best way to quiet down all the noise is to prove them wrong, right? And just go,
Yeah.
go be good, go show them that, that's all rolling off your back. Second thing is, I'm actually looking forward to the Pro Bowl ever since they changed it to a flag football game. It's fun. They have fun. They're like little kids.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
such a, I think, a few seasons ago, Nick, you and Sydney were saying that how it should be more like flag and more fun, and and that's exactly what it is, because people don't want to play a Pro Bowl anymore because they don't want to beat each other up. They don't want to get hurt. It's like the Pro Bowl of 80s and 70s where they beat up each other. Like, they
would after each other. Yeah.
They
there were
were
season-ending injuries in those games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, whatever anger they felt when they were playing on the teams opposite, they were like, I'm gonna. So
very true.
It wasn't that game anymore, and so this is fun. So I'm actually looking forward to Pro Bowl weekend. I like the skills challenge. I like that they added dodgeball, because dodgeball.
Dodgeball. Yeah, dodgeball.
So I like that they added dodgeball to it. So enjoy the Pro Bowl weekend. So that's all I have to say. It's like, I think it's fun. I like what they did.
Yeah, no. Hey, totally. Again, it'll be fun. Yeah. So my one last thought is more of just kind of an announcement. I've talked about this on the show before, obviously, but I did go last week and met with the surgical team at Stroger. So my surgery is now set for May 6th. It is in the books. I go back on March 27th to fill out my paperwork and all that stuff and get some final instructions and all that. But yeah, so I will be having my weight loss surgery on May 6th. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. So thank you guys, of course, for all your support too, as well. I know everybody that I've mentioned it to has been very supportive and very loving. So thank you so much. Again, I know it's not for everyone, but it's a choice that I've made for myself. With this, just the way it's gone, and I'm very lucky that I have, for being an overweight man at 51, I'm still in pretty good health. I got the all clear from the doctors on everything. My heart, my lungs are good. The upper GI was good. I don't have anything going on in my stomach or anything outside of just being a big boy. So I'm very grateful for that. So again, I just thank you guys. And that's it. Just I hope everybody, especially for this year. I think going into this year, I was very optimistic about a lot of things. And so far, honestly, I've had a pretty good year in these first 30 days. So I guess I would just leave you with that, guys. I hope everyone has a very prosperous, healthy, and happy 2024. Again, thank everybody for commenting. I saw Ben, I saw Nate, I saw Scott Thaler, I saw Sean Spencer, of course. So thank you guys, and anybody else I missed, I apologize. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, next week will pretty much be our Super Bowl show. We'll talk some other stuff too. Probably, MVP race, maybe some other awards, and definitely preview the Super Bowl next week. So please tune in. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday. So for Tina Winter, Anthony Handy, Delilah Crespo, and myself, Nick Rosario, have a great week, guys. See you next week.